What is up, guys? Wow, it's really late to be making a video, but right now it's 1:50, 1:55, about to be 1:55. Almost. We're basically. I'm busy. I'm basically. I'm basically the next day, and just on this consistent YouTube grind, and so I want to come on video, come on the tube. Is that the kids say? Come on YouTube to make a video about a topic. I wanted to record earlier, but I couldn't record because I had a pretty full schedule. So I figure tomorrow's video will have tomorrow's thoughts, and some thoughts just don't come back to you. So when you have a great idea or something, you should write it down. But all things aside, today I want to talk about I think a video on advice. Funny enough, this channel is just built upon me talking about experiences and stories, and based on those things, right? You could learn from it, or you may encounter similar things. You may have encountered similar things, or you may encounter similar things in the future, and you may have an idea how to, navigate some of those issues. But today, something pretty interesting happened to me at the gym, right? I was actually bench pressing with a buddy of mine, and mind you, I already finished my workout, I hit bench, but my buddy came in a bit late, and so he was benching, and he's benching 250 for about 3-4 reps, and he's a younger guy in his 20s, and yeah, pretty solid, for somebody who's working out for, I think, seriously about a year, maybe less than a year, and he was hitting good stride. Good for him. But anyways, at the same time, at the gym I go to, there's this guy. He's like 50 years old, and he brings his son around to to work out with him. Whatever bonding activity with father and son. It's great. But anyways, they happen to be working on benching as well, and so my buddy and I, we were finished with the bench, and we were talking for a little bit because the father wanted to grab a bench, and as we were getting off, and he saw my friends kind of struggling hitting 250 for four reps, and he comes in, we're unracking their weight, and then he was kind of trying to show my friend how to hit bench press. And initially it was pretty friendly, and until it got kind of like, I don't know what the right word is, childish, egotistical, or what will it, so basically, my friend, he does these, let's just call him the proper way, right? He does the bench press properly, right? Which you're supposed to bring the weight all the way down to your chest, fully stretch your pec, and then push the weight up. Whereas the 50-year-old guy, he was doing his bench press. He was he's kind of pulsating it, or half repping it, if that's a better description. Half repping, like 25 pounds on each side, and then he adds another 25, and he adds another 25, and call it a warm up. And he was showing, I guess, my friend how to bench press properly, and initially it was like, oh, it started with, oh, you're not gonna get you gotta get stronger that way. You have to go all the way down, full range of motion, which I agree. I've been working out for about on and off 10 years, so I've been through a fair share of like experimenting and tryouts and errors, and injuries. So you live and learn. And the funny thing is that, like, at one point, my friend and this 50-year-old guy with his son was just kind of like bickering, and at a certain point they were the father was asking my friend, oh, where's your dad? Ask your dad to come to the gym. Tell me, like, show me your dad's chest. And it was so, like, I don't know. Sometimes I just think people should be more mature, given how much life they've lived. But maybe that's not always the case, right? To recognize that, people's maturity is not directly based on the number of lives they have lived, years of the years of life they have lived. And so, what was I gonna say? And I think a big takeaway from that is that most people, when you talk to them, they don't want to hear that they're doing something wrong, or they don't want to hear that, oh, the thing that they've been doing is wrong, or they don't want to hear that they've been told straight up, like, oh, you're wrong. People get defensive, and when people get defensive, they are more like likely to retaliate, to fight back, right? To bark back, because that's what people do. I've seen it today. It was a big one, and you see it all the time. You tell somebody who's wrong, and the more you tell them that they're wrong, the more defensive they get. I think if people are trying to give advice, or like just give help, I think people should ask questions instead. It's like, oh, why do you choose to go half rep, right? Versus like, oh, I think getting the perspective of the other person would make a better understanding. But once again, it's my friend's 21, and this other guy's 50, right? For me, it's like, whenever I hear, there's a quote. I'm not sure if I butchered it or I'm saying a variation of it, but like, it's like, to be understood is to understand. First, get understood, and then understand. Let me double check. All right, I remember now. A long time ago, I read this book by Stephen Cohen or something, and one of them was the seven habits of highly effective people. I might have butchered it, but if you're interested in reading these books, that's one of them I read. But one of them is like, to be understood is to understand. So basically, it's just to sum it down, it's like, if you're trying to understand somebody, first find out why, right? And that means like asking questions, right? And not assume that, like, that other people think like you. And I think most of us falls in that trap, that we tend to think that it's because we think a certain way, that it's a common sense that everybody should be thinking the same way as we are. But in reality is that it's not like that at all, right? Everyone's thinking process or processes are different. Life experience is different. So like, it's you have to kind of get into the conversation, or get into the headspace of another person by really asking questions and asking it in a way where it doesn't alarm them, and to kind of disarm them in a way, and by asking question and get to understand what they're thinking about. And I think that's ultimately the way to understand someone, is just ask questions and be curious, right? Be curious and be open to what other people are saying. And even later on, when after I swam today, this video was kind of in the back of my mind, and that we could all be wrong sometimes. I could be wrong. I'm sure in the past, I've said something. I was younger, and years on, you realize that, oh, what I said was not correct, or like, what I said was based on the experience that I've had during those times. And then later on, when you're older, you like realize, oh, maybe what I said wasn't correct, and I think as we get older, our experiences are, accumulate, and our ideas or topics or opinions of certain things change, and they get more refined, or we take an opposite take on it. But at the end of the day, we're all different people, and we think differently, and that's okay. That's okay. When I was younger, I used to really hate listening to people's opinions and advice. I don't know. It's just, I think the more I hear it, the more I took it as like they're telling me what to do. And I think that's like the way I grew up, or some sort of issue. But as I'm older now, in my later 20s, it's like, I feel like different opinions welcome an open discussion, and that in it all is a good thing, because think about it. If everybody has iPhones, right, then we would not know the power of Samsungs, right? It's because there are rival competitors that makes a spotlight for certain phones so much better, right? For example, right, iPhone, I'm not sure if it's still the same, but how iPhone started was it was aimed to sell sophistication. You're selling the iPhone because people want to be seen as sophisticated, right? Their product is straightforward, streamlined, easy to learn. Whereas Samsung, to me, maybe back in the day, was about the customization with the Android, with the Blueberry Pie. I'm probably butchering it, and I think like a couple years, it was the Sidekick and the I'm not sure if you guys remember the Sidekick and the Blueberry Pie, or whatever, the BlackBerry, right? So different companies highlights by having rivals, right? By having rivalries in products, you could highlight the different strength and weaknesses of different products. And it's kind of like it's a market where we're not a monopoly. Not everyone's using iPhones. Some people choose to use Samsung, some people choose to use iPhones. It's just having preferences. But I don't know what I'm ranting about. But anyways, I just want to I guess conclude this video with an advice. Funny enough, we've been talking about advice that if when you're young, you should listen to advice. Like, be open to advice, but you don't necessarily need to be open to advice, but you don't necessarily need to take on all the advice. And if you do take it on, the advice, test the advice, right? What's right for you, what's right for them may not be right for you. So that's why I always be open to advice, be open to people's opinion, hear them out, you know, be your own judge for these advice. Like I said, what works for them may not mean what works for you. Okay? And with that, that would be today's topic. It would be on advice. All right, guys. See you next time. Bye.